Okay, hello from Little Big Bear. We're at the sawmill today. I haven't been doing much recording. I've been working on this sawmill. On the ground on those are 12. Actually, I think they're almost 13 high by 6 feet wide. They were about 8 feet long. There was 4 of them. I put them together and basically made this, but they were just sitting on the ground. But now what I've done is I've got some pressure treated 4x4 posts that I bought instead of milling them. I could have milled them, except the mill was apart, so this was just easier. Usually what I do is I'll mill it and then I'll burn the bottom, the sushiaki, or however you pronounce it, the Japanese way of treating wood. You burn it and then but this way, pressure treated. We bought them. I've got them in the ground now, and this whole thing is now, I can cut about a 22-foot log by 19 inches wide. It is a HM 122, so I mean, it says you can do a 22-inch diameter log, but it would just be they're just heavy, and the space between here and here is actually just a little over 19 inches. So you'd be doing a lot of cutting, turning to get it to actually pass through that. You'd have to cut the log down quite a bit in order to pass through that. So basically anything more than 19 inches is kind of just a lot of extra work. So what we do is we've got this all leveled now. It's all squared. The sawmill, I've got the log on here with the laser. You can see the laser there, just a green. I don't know if you can see it, but here's the laser. You can see the laser beam there, and the laser is lined up with the blade. So normally when you're lining up a log, you line up the center here on this side. This is the fat end on this log, and you line the center up with the laser on this side as well. You can see my lines there. So it's up higher, but what you do is you center the two centers, and then if you need to jack up one side in order to get it so the centers are level, that's what you do, and I've already done that. So this is already squared up, two sides. It's going to be it's a 12 by 12 cant, and what we're going to do is make 6 by 6 boards out of it. So right now I'm just going to cut a piece off here, and hopefully I can start making my 6 by 6s. And I'll get about, I'll probably get what, 4, 8, 12. I'm hoping to get at least 10 good 6 by 6 out of this, because it is kind of got wobblies in it, but we'll see. I think you need a 15-inch or 16-inch diameter log in order to get a full 12 to 14 6 by 6s. So we're just going to mill this up. So right now you can see the laser. It's harder to see in the daylight, but what you'll see where it's going to cut. So on the log, it's going to cut just below there, just below there, and then I added this little chute, because otherwise the sawdust just kind of shoots all over the place. And which, I mean, is fine, but we like to use the sawdust for making paths and stuff. And so this will lay it down in a nice little line, kind of like the cartoons with the explosion stuff. So I'm just going to get this going, and we will fire up. There's the measuring. I can use this to measure too. So on the right is your rough cut lumber before it's all planed down to what you see in the store. So this would be a literal 2-inch. Actually, I'm not 100% sure this scale how it works, because this is 2 inches, but this is 2. So I think this is just for rough milling, and then this is more the measurements we would use. Like a 2x4 is actually 1.5 by 3.5 is what a 2x4 actually is. But when you're cutting it, it's cut at 2 inches by 4 inches, hence why it's called a 2x4. So I'm doing 6x6s. I'm not going to cut them rough because I'm not going to plane these. So they will be cut to 1.5 by 5.5 inches, which is what a 2x6 normally is in the store. So that's what I'm going to cut them as. But I won't be planing them down. So we'll just get this thing fired up, and then we will cut some stuff. Choke, I'm going to leave the choke off because I've already ran this once. And then what we do is we add some water. Water drops down. Should start to see it come out here. There's soap in there as well to help it go through the log. And then we'll mill it, and we'll see what's going on here. All right. We'll just get this on a nice angle for you. There you go. Okay, I just marked it at 5.5. So, hopefully the laser's not shooting at it. No, it kind of is. Anyways, I marked it at 5.5. I'm going to cut it down. So it'll be 2 5.5 chunks. And then we'll flip it and we'll start cutting it. post right here. Go. Back there. Kind of wiring a little weird on this side. I think this part here might be needing adjusting. I got the legs, bolts in here. And there's little bolts underneath to lift and lower it. And then these are attached. I did this because I think this all together, box of these 20 bolts and nuts, cost me, I think, $15 or something. And I can raise and lower. I just have to loosen the top one and unwind the bottom one here to get this to go up. And if I need to go down, I do the opposite. But I could buy legs for this. They cost $17 each leg. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. 24 bolts at $15 or $17 a leg times 24. So that's why I went with this. And the 2x4. I think I paid $7 for the 2x4. I could have used one that I milled, but I didn't have it in my hand. So, yeah, anyways. It cost me basically $17 to get all these legs on here, or I could pay $17 for one times 24. So yeah, that's what that is. So anyways, I'm just going to flip this log. Lift these up just to guide it. I'll try and flip it with them down, and it ends up falling on them. There we go. So you're not getting shot by the laser. just gonna transfer a smaller one because I'm going to be cutting these down to 1.5 inches. So now I just need to hold it in place is all I need to do. So. Okay. stack the lumber to dry, you gotta put space in between, so I'll just use those cuts that aren't quite right. So yeah. Like this one here, I'll probably just cut this into strips and use it. I could cut it down to a 2x4 as well. So far I got 2 actually decent boards out of this. Decent 2x6s, and I can get 3x4s out of these ones, because they got the round edge there. But I can cut those down into 2x4s, and then I'll use the little strip pieces. When I stack the wood, I don't really have an example here, but you usually put pieces in between the 2 boards, about every 2 feet, just for drying purposes, so they're not stuck together, because this is green wood. Trees were taken down this year, so they That's the new one. So it keeps happening over here. Wheels not sliding. Trying to slide it off for some reason. Don't know why. it's a little bit wider of a gap, but it shouldn't be. I don't know. It's possible that the mill itself, this structure, I think when I was taking it off, it fell, and it's possible that this is bent. It doesn't look like it, but I know when I measure from here inside the wheel to inside the wheel, it's a 1/4 inch wider on the front, which is probably what's causing the problem. So I'm just trying to get it out because it fell, and now it's sitting on the blade. And that thing. Yeah, it's sitting inside there instead of in there. And then this one's sitting on here instead of in there. So something's not right. I mean, it's a 1/4 inch difference, but seems to wreak a lot of havoc. Why is this still coming out the water? There we go. Like when stuff goes wrong, it all goes wrong. Come on. All right. Let's see if I can lift this. Nope. Okay, so something's got to be done about that, because it's still not sitting properly. Now it's on this side. So it was on that side, now it's on this side. So something's wonky. All right, well, anyways, you guys can see we're getting 2x6s out of it. I've got one more cut to make, or I think two more. Yeah, 2 more cuts. 1, 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 11, 12. 12 decent boards, and then this one here, because it's got wonky stuff on it, I'll probably turn it into a 2x4. Same with this one and this one. So 12 2x6s. Oh, 12. Might make this a 2x8, 12, or a 2x10. So 1 2x10. 2 2x10s. 10s or 8s, we'll see how it works out. So we'll say 2x8s. So 2 2x8s, 12 2x6s, and 3 2x4s by 8 feet from an 8-foot, a little bit over 8-foot log. And I believe the diameter was 14 inches to start with. So there you go. That's what you can get out of the sawmill. So I got some more adjusting to do. I spent 2 days trying to get this thing to ride on this thing properly. For some reason on this end, it just doesn't want to ride. It doesn't make sense to me, because when you put the level on it, you can see it's level. When you put the level on it this way, you can see it's level. When you measure it from that corner to that corner, it equals 250 inches 250.6 inches on both sides. So it's level, it's square. So the only thing I can think of is this thing is out of whack when I dropped it, because I lifted this off with the tractor and it swung and fell, and I think when it did that, one of these ends bent. Something bent, because if you take the tape measure and measure from the just inside the wheel there to just inside the wheel, you're looking at an inch, 25¼ inch when we use this tape measure. Okay. (25¼ inch) from the inside to the inside. Now, if I measure this, same thing. From the inside to the inside, it's 25 5/8. So it is 1/4 inch wider on the front than the back. So that means I was spending all this time trying to get this platform all squared and getting all frustrated, and the whole time it was this thing, the actual unit. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get this bent in, because when you look at it, it does not look like it's actually bent. So I don't know if the front got... I'm thinking when it fell, I'm trying to remember how it fell, because I picked it up with the tractor to get it off here, and I was driving it over here, and it was swinging, and I tried to stop it to swing, but it slipped off the forks. It was swinging by straps, and the strap loops came off the forks, and it slammed into the ground here. It wasn't super high, but clearly it was high enough to do some damage. So I don't know if this part here bent in. I don't think so. I think the outside bent. So anyways, I'm gonna spend some time. I'll spend some time farting around with it. So anyways, that's what's happening at the sawmill. Make good choices.